I saw you mention on a Twitter thread something called the consolidation curve that was happening within the gaming industry, and I hadn't heard of that before. But could you please like describe that, and is that consolidation curve why we're seeing so much backlash from gaming companies against NFTs and Web3? I feel like I've seen a lot of negative comments from traditional gaming companies about the combination of NFTs and metaverses with what they do.
Yeah, so I'll like very quickly describe the consolidation curve. This is probably something we can also link. Um,
Sure.
Typically, it's this well documented phenomenon in most industries. There's tons of data points and a very long time span. Like the time series is really great here. Typically, it takes around 25 years for an industry to mature to the point of 70 to 90% consolidation among the top three firms. And at that point, innovation looks very different. In order to continue to grow, they have to be a lot more aggressive. These firms have to be a lot more aggressive about monetizing their consumers. They have to, and people who want to win, right, against enormous amounts of capital and resources have to do something very different, right? And so I think like indie game studios right now are facing pressure from all sides. It's hard to compete with big money. It's hard to compete with fast follow development, preferential cross promotion. And when the platform becomes the largest publisher, studios lose their key point of leverage, which before was cross-platform distribution deals. So like a good example is Fortnite. They were able to dominate culture by eschewing publishers and making themselves deliberately available on every platform that games can be played on. And so now it's been almost exactly 25 years since the first commercial broadband MMO was released, which was Ultima Online in 1997. And I think like part of the consequence of this is like content gets funneled to vertically owned distribution channels, like Elder Scrolls being exclusive to the Xbox, for example. And like this, just to try to understand what this looks like, it's like the same content balkanization that you see in television, where you have to now subscribe to every streaming service because of verticalization and exclusive media rights. I think Web3 is a new point of leverage that, enables the most innovative and risk-taking game developers to circumvent that asymmetric advantage that these consolidated and verticalized publishers now have. I think the sort of the biggest thing here is like they can own their community, like direct user acquisition and community engagement. Today, it looks like Discord groups, but tomorrow it looks like having all this on-chain data when the identity primitive, like on-chain identity primitive, is more mature. It's being able to really like take the Fortnite example to its logical extreme, which is bringing universal availability down to the object level. So like axes can be bought, sold, and played anywhere. That's very powerful, even as a distribution mechanism for Axie Infinity, right? I think the other thing is I'm just like an open, I'm like a decentralization maxi in some ways. It's like open economies provide ownership incentives that drive like composable esports, creator economies, incentivize modding, like guild growth. I think, yeah. So like all of these things bring in people who are invested in the game in a way that is very different and hopefully much more powerful than what we've seen in Web 2 gaming.
You're listening to the Unstoppable Podcast, the go-to place for everyone to learn about the latest innovations in Web3, NFTs, and the decentralized web. Welcome to the metaverse.